Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Online. News story here. And we'll be talking about a recent victory for a community group versus Brent Council. With a current agenda in the UK focusing on knife crime and trying to reduce knife crime, I think this is a very interesting story. High Court victory for group seeking to build Black Canary Wharf. Now, I will say this article is from the Guardian newspaper, so think what you want of it in terms of how it's written. Judge orders full trial in dispute with Brent Council over Bridge Park Community Centre. So I'll read up what this article says, and of course the link is in the description box. But after I've read it, then I'll give my thoughts on it afterwards. You pull up the article and we'll get into it. Okay. Let's get stuck into this this article, which again is written by the Guardian newspaper. The information is in the description box. One of the UK's biggest or largest black communities is celebrating a victory in the High Court over a contested piece of land it wants to transform into a Black Canary Wharf. The dispute relates to a site known as Bridge Park in Stonebridge, northwest London, where Prince Charles opened what was then billed as Europe's largest black community centre in the 1980s. The area was among the most deprived in the country at the time, and some of the founders of the initiative, by their own admission, had criminal pasts. However, they've had a vision to create the biggest ever business, sport and educational complex run by the black community. Initially, it thrived, but then criminal elements began to use the site and it became notorious for shootings and spats between rival gangs. Eventually, the local authority, Brent Council, took over the day-to-day running. The land was protected by covenant for community use, but the council told The Guardian the covenant had been released in 2012 as it was no longer enforceable. In June 2017, the council entered into a conditional land sale agreement with an offshore company, General Mediterranean Holdings, to redevelop the site for luxury housing and other purposes. The black community, including those who helped establish Bridge Park in the 1980s, objected and launched the fight to try and halt the sell-off. Its vision involved setting up a technology centre and Europe's biggest black supermarket, along with other businesses, sport and educational initiatives. The Manchester City footballer Raheem Sterling, who grew up in the area, wants to set a football and learning academy as part of the community redevelopment of the site. In a tweet, he accused Brent Council of trying to sell off a key part of his childhood. So this is a tweet from Raheem Sterling. It says, Brent Council need to answer this. Why are my team continuously getting no response when I'm trying to help the community, especially the kids, whilst the council are trying to sell off part of my childhood, Brent Park? Can someone answer this, please? And it's got at Dawn Butler Brent. Those opposing the council's move formed the Stonebridge Community Trust and unearthed crucial documents relating to the covenant and ownership of the site and applied to put a restriction on the multi-million-pound land sale. The council brought the case into the High Court, hoping to get the restriction thrown out so the land sale would go ahead. But on Thursday, the judge ruled against the council and said the issue must go to a full trial. The council was refused permission to appeal against the decision. Shirley Wilson, a retired head teacher who is involved in a campaign to save the land, was jubilant after hearing the decision. This is about equal rights and opportunity and justice, she said. James Mastin, another of the community campaigners, welcomed the decision. This is a momentous day, he said. It has taken 2 years to get to this point. The council has denied that we have a stake in this, but today we have been vindicated. We have had to work with our own resources. Now we are one step closer to the vision of regeneration for the area, creating a black Canary Wharf. This is a very significant development for the UK's African and Caribbean community. We are all children of the Windrush generation. Bridge Park is an iconic place for the black community. Lily Johnson, one of the original founders of Bridge Park, was in court for the judgment. He welcomed the ruling and urged the black community to unite to make the vision happen. We want to create wealth and develop economic enterprise, he said. What's happening at the moment with knife crime is that young black people feel disconnected in many communities across the UK. They are disenfranchised and they need to have a stake in society. A Brent Council spokesperson said, our intention has always been to work with all the Stonebridge community to develop a new Bridge Park Centre with better leisure, community employment and business spaces for local people. Today's decision just means we have to go to a full airing so that more evidence can be provided. So that's where we are with this story so far. My take on the whole thing. Okay. Well, first of all, my personal experience of working with the council, whether it be council is about, for the most part, ticking off boxes and hitting various goals and strategies, hitting their tick boxes, reaching their quotas. They cannot move outside those boxes, and quite often it is more in the interest of the powers that be to keep the gun crime, to keep the knife crime high. That sells newspapers, that continues divide, that continues and allows more what I call cancerous behaviour. So you have more racist and more racist behaviour. Say, oh, look at this knife crime. These black people that can't do anything for themselves. So, and often reaching out to the council, they don't have the money, they don't have the funding, they don't have this, they don't have that when it comes to projects like this. As for local members of parliament, they, when the cameras are off and it's not on them, they're quite happy to turn a blind eye to these situations. You will write to them, you will email them, you will phone them, they will fob you off, they will reject you, and they really don't have any interest in bringing the community together. Now, when an incident happens and it's on the doorstep of one of these MPs, then they come out on the camera and start talking about how they want to help the community. But yet months and months, emails go by and it's ignored. The Grenfell situation, I don't know too much about the situation, but what I do know is that emails were sent long before the tragedy that happened at Grenfell, the Grenfell Tower. Emails were sent and people were ignored. The people on the streets are usually ignored. They're ignored by the council. They're ignored by local MPs until a situation like Grenfell happens, which then exposes and it has to start getting covered up as to all the emails that were sent and people being held accountable. Truth is, people generally don't care about building communities. They don't care. They're quite happy to stay in their own ways in their little boxes and keep other commuters as they are. And you're more likely going to find that Brent Council or councils in general are more of a hindrance than a help to the situation. And the people that are in positions of power with the funding often are people that have no interest in seeing communities grow, have no idea of how the community can grow, and have no vision for the people that want to build the communities. And rather than try and bring people on board to help, they get in the way and they block. That is just the way the system is. There are a lot of people within government and a lot of people within councils that have no business being in councils and in government. The simple thing is this: it's not about what you can do; it's about who you know. And often these people that are in these positions are not even got they haven't got a brain cell between them. But what they have got is a community of mindset, and the mindset that they have is one which is to lock out, to delay, to cause chaos, and to not help out. And often it is from a mentality of a racist mentality. This is the way it is in this country. That's the way it is in the UK, unfortunately. So when you hear about a black Canary Wharf, why can't we have a white Canary Wharf? No, well, you have a Canary Wharf that is very affluent. And I just think this is a great project. This is a great project. The idea sounds fantastic. And of course, if footballers you always often hear that of all these footballers making all this money. Now you're hearing Raheem Sterling, an England footballer, plays for Manchester City, used to live in the area, now wanting to give back. This is fantastic to hear. Now, whether they will get the victory that they want, it's a great start. Whether they'll get the victory that they want to be able to go on and build this will be very interesting. I once wanted to rebuild. I'm not going to say the area because that would be, but it was in London, and there was a leisure. But there was a let's say a community centre that was once in the 80s very good. It was a school, a sports school, so the young people would go to school there, or like a college. They go to the college there, play sport, and still get educated at the same time. I was trying to rebuild that, and the amount of blockage I faced, not support, blockage. Well, okay, we'll give you this amount of money, but you have to make up the rest of the money yourself. But we'll give you this money, but here's the stipulation: you can't do A, B, C, D, and E. So now you have a situation where I'm sure people in the council in this community have gone out and reached out and sent emails to the council and asked for money. And I said, you know what? We're not getting any help from the council. We're going to have to use our own resources to make this happen. And good for them. This is what's happening. So this is a fantastic project, the idea of it. Let's just hope that there's more progress with it. I'm going to go and visit the area myself to see more about it and to learn more about Stonebridge and the bridge park. I'm going to go out there and see it myself and get more information and talk to people about it. But this is a great story, and I shall be following it with great intent. This is BWTM Online. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave comments, and all the best to those that continue to fight for the legacy of Stonebridge Bridge Park.